Well, good morning everyone and welcome to beautiful Corfu.
Yes, today a Celestyal Journey has arrived on the beautiful island of Corfu. We've never been here before and we are so impressed as we've been walking around.
Now this morning we did take the opportunity to have a little lie in, so that meant we got up around 9 AM. Bear in mind though that the clocks did go forward an hour, so that means it was really 8 AM for us.
Yeah, so that hour that we got back the other day has been taken off us again. Yesterday we explored the beautiful Italian port of Bari, another destination that we'd never been to before. And again, the weather was beautiful and we had a fantastic time exploring some caves as well as a fantastic cliff-top town.
Now, once we got ourselves ready this morning, it did unfortunately mean that we had missed breakfast in the main dining room and the buffet, but we did just have time to grab one of their pastries or muffins that they have available between 9:30 and 10. We grabbed ourselves a muffin each as well as a latte from the indoor pool area, sat outside and enjoyed our breakfast.
It's so nice to be able to grab some breakfast and just sit out in the sun with some great sea views. Docked next to us was Crystal Serenity, and it's the first time we've been in port with another ship.
Yes, since leaving Athens, where we had Morella Discovery 2, this is the first time we have encountered another ship. It has meant the ports have been much quieter for us, so that's been great. Now, after enjoying our breakfast out on the pool deck area, we then headed back to our cabin to grab our bags. At this point, we did take the opportunity to do some laundry. Now, Celestyal have an offer where you can fill a bag of laundry for €29.95, and we managed to fill 2 bags full of laundry. So it's going to cost us roughly around €60 to get our washing done, but that will mean it will all get done, ready for us to go home with clean clothes.
Once we grabbed our bags and then sorted out our washing, we headed down to the gangway on deck 3. Again, no queues, we were straight off. Corfu Port did lay on a little shuttle bus that took us from the ship to the main cruise terminal. However, you can walk it and we can understand why. I think we were on that bus for around about a minute in total.
Then once we reached the port entrance, we exited the port. There was quite a few different vendors there selling taxi tours, hop on or hop off bus tours and even horse and carriage opportunities.
We walked out the port and followed the coastline round into the old town. Took us around about 15 minutes in total. Some of the pavements were a little bit tricky because they were made up of stones. However, it was a really nice walk into the old town of Corfu, where we are now.
If you don't want to walk, there is also a public bus that you can take. You pick that up just outside the port area and it drops you off outside the old town.
So we've spent about an hour now exploring the old walled town of Corfu. We went to the new fort, which is an archaeological dig. You can pay to go in, but we just decided to carry on exploring as this is our first time at this destination.
We then had a walk around the town itself. There's plenty of shops, restaurants and bars, including some British favourites like Marks and Spencer.
So we had to go in and just have a cheeky little look. We're currently stood in this beautiful square with lots of Greek architecture. It's a really nice area with lots of cafes and bars. There's a church that we've just been into, and again, really beautiful and picturesque.
Now, all the churches we have visited on this trip have been Catholic churches, so there is pictures of the Pope, because when we were here the Pope has just passed away, unfortunately. And this church was wonderful to explore. There were lots of ornate features, fresh flowers, lots of scenery inside. We really enjoyed taking a look around. We only spent about 5 or 10 minutes. It's not too big, but it's just beautiful to get out the sun and have a little bit of an explore.
We're now going to head to the new fort area. It's close to the coast and we're just going to carry on exploring. So when we last saw you, we walked to the old fort. There was a €10 charge. Didn't take us too long at all. However, we decided to continue exploring. But I think next time we come to Corfu, it's definitely on our to-do list. We continued walking through these beautiful cobbled streets. It's so hot and beautiful in Corfu today. We've stopped off for a cheeky little drink. It is 12:30 here, so not too early. I've had a glass of Corfu Draft Pilsner, and it is beautifully refreshing. Tom sat there with a lovely glass of white wine. So cheers to you. So we've had a little walk around the old town of Corfu, and yeah, it's beautiful. Lovely little alleyways with loads of little shops, bars and cafes. You can buy just about anything and everything.
Well, we are back in the cabin after having a slow walk back from the old town of Corfu to the port.
After walking through the beautiful old town of Corfu, we made our way back to Celestyal Journey. We just followed the coast road back to the cruise port. No issues, no problems. Took us around about 15 minutes and we were back at the cruise terminal.
No problem at all, and we were back on board Celestyal Journey before we knew it. But again, we had that very short bus journey lasting about 60 seconds.
Back on board, it was around about 1:45, and we did note that the main dining room closed for lunch at 2, so we went straight to our designated dining room.
Yes, our dining room is the smoked olive, and we can eat there for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And this was the first time we'd properly had the chance to try lunch, so we thought, why not head in there and grab something to eat. It was very quiet inside the smoked olive. There were only about 2 or 3 other tables there, so we were quickly sat down at a window seat.
Yeah, it was a lovely table. We were offered bread, we ordered a couple of glasses of wine, the menu was delivered. Really nice, pleasant lunch.
We both went for the same starter. We went for the hummus and pita bread. Now, we were slightly disappointed when we did get the hummus and the pita bread, only because there was only a tiny little triangle of pita. We could have done with a little bit more, but the hummus was fantastic.
Then on to our mains, and this is where we differed. I went for the croque madame, and wow, when it came, I was just blown away. It had a fried egg on top. It was full of ham, cheese, onion. It was spectacular. It was definitely a hearty lunch, and it also came with a side salad and a portion of fries. So I did try my very best to eat it all, but I just couldn't manage it because there was so much there.
And then for me, I went for the cheeseburger that came with a side of fries. The burger was super tasty, cooked perfectly, nice and succulent, with lettuce, tomatoes and gherkin. I was offered a choice of sauces, tomato ketchup or mayonnaise as well to go with the burger. Now, our waiter did offer us the dessert, but because it was lunchtime and we wanted to get out in the sun, and to be honest, we were pretty full, we greatly declined and said thank you very much, but no dessert for us. And we headed off to get changed, ready to go and sit out in the pool area.
So that's exactly what we did. We spent a beautiful couple of hours at the aft pool, sunning ourselves, relaxing, a few little drinks. What a glorious afternoon here in Corfu.
The lounges in the aft pool area are super comfortable. They've got some lovely thick padded covers on top that makes it really nice just to relax and enjoy yourself in the pool area in the afternoon in the Corfu sunshine.
So now we're back in the cabin and we're going to get ourselves refreshed and ready for tonight.
Yes, because tonight is White Night, so keep watching to see how we get on during White Night on board Celestyal Journey. After we last left you, we got ourselves ready and headed down to our dining room.
Last night was one of Celestyal's theme nights, and that theme was White Night.
Yes, so me and Dom got ourselves decked out in our white shirts. I even had white trousers on and white pumps, and headed down to the restaurant, which was the Smoked Olive. Now, that is our restaurant that's included with booking a junior balcony suite, and we were quickly welcomed to the restaurant and shown to a booth at the back of the restaurant.
We were promptly offered some water, some wine and bread.
Now, the wine I chose tonight was Pinot Grigio, and Dom went for some Pinot Noir.
The French Pinot Noir on board has been beautiful.
We also had a great selection of bread. There was white bread, seeded bread and brown.
The butter that we've been provided with on this cruise has been Lurpak, which has been very nice.
It wasn't long before our waiter came to take our order, and to start with, I went for the beef chimichangas. Now, these were 2 cold style wraps stuffed with beef and vegetables. They were really tasty, although probably could have done with 2 portions.
I chose to go for the vegetable fritter, and wow, it was magnificent. The little relish sauce that it came with complemented it perfectly, and I could have had a whole plate full.
Now, why didn't we go for 2 portions? Well, because we had another starter on the way. Both myself and Dom went for the cheese and broccoli soup.
Full of flavour, nice and thick, plenty of broccoli and cheese.
Yes, as we dipped our spoons into that soup, you could really tell the cheese was in there.
And then it was on to our main course, and I decided to go for the stuffed pork loin. When it arrived, it was presented beautifully. I had 2 thick slices on my plate with gravy. The filling in the middle was lovely, and really surprisingly, it came with a hash brown. Now, I'd never thought about adding a hash brown to a cooked dinner, but wow, I tell you what, it worked beautifully.
You really enjoyed that, didn't you? Even I had a little bite just to give it a try. Then for my main course this evening, I went for the lamb. I thought this lamb was super tasty. It was braised lamb on a bed of potatoes. The potatoes were soft yet tasty as well. It all worked fantastically together. I thought the lamb was much better than the lamb I had previously in the cruise. This one was much more tender and less fatty.
On the menus, you'll always find one exclusive Greek dish, and this evening it was a phyllo pastry filled with spring greens, so we had to have a little taste.
Yeah, it was stuffed with spinach. You could taste a little bit of cheese in there as well. It was nice and light. The pastry was crisp, but the filling was packed in there.
And then it was on to dessert, and I chose to go for the American style cheesecake, and wow, did it impress me. It was incredibly dense yet very smooth. I really enjoyed it.
Now, I went for the chocolate dessert again today, but I have to say it's not a patch on the chocolate dessert I had earlier on in this cruise. This one did have like a mint custard on top of it, so it was tasty, but I think I was spoiled by that chocolate dessert I had earlier on.
During our evening meal, we were very careful as we were in white, and I did tuck my napkin into my shirt just to be double safe.
After dinner finished, we thanked our waiters once again. They have been excellent throughout the cruise, and then we headed to the Martini bar.
Last night we did get to see the crew talent show, but this was the first time we've actually sat in the bar and enjoyed a drink.
The Martini bar did have a live pianist as well as a violinist, so it was great to sit back, relax with a couple of cocktails and enjoy the music.
It was a really nice, relaxed atmosphere.
The cocktails we had tonight were once again the cocktails of the day. A little bit earlier in the evening tonight. Now, these cocktails are quite strong, but they are super tasty, and we love to watch the bartenders mix them because we know they are made with fresh quality ingredients and they are decorated beautifully.
Yesterday's cocktail of the day was a pink gin refresher, and yeah, it definitely had a little bit of a kick to it. Cost us €9 and definitely value for money. After sipping our cocktail, it was time to head to the theatre for tonight's second performance. The performance tonight was the Grand Circus show, so we took a seat. We had heard from other passengers who'd gone to the first showing that it was spectacular, so we had high hopes.
Now, it is worth pointing out that you do check your daily cruise planner to find out what time the shows are on, because these do change depending on what other events are going on around the ship. Tonight it was 9:45 for the late show. Took a seat towards the back of the theatre on the lower level. A waiter came and asked us if we wanted a drink. Great service once again. I ordered myself a Prosecco and Dom had a gin and tonic, and then it was time for the show to start. Onboard Celestyal Journey, they have a team of 3 acrobats, and tonight's circus show really let them show off their talents. We were in awe of some of the shapes that they got themselves into. Also, they were hanging off the ceiling, spinning on rings, you name it, they could do it. This was a real opportunity for the cast to show off, and we think they did it to perfection. I would even go as far as saying this was the best show we've seen all week. Although they were accompanied by the singers, in this show the singers weren't the stars of the show. The acrobats and the dancers on board definitely shone.
It really did give them the opportunity to demonstrate just how incredibly talented they are, because wow, everyone in that audience was clapping at the end of each little mini performance. They were incredible, and wow, I've got to agree with Tom, it is definitely one of the best shows we've seen on board this week. After the show finished, we quickly made our way up to the Horizons Disco and Lounge because that is where the entertainment team were hosting tonight's white party.
Now, as we headed up to the lounge, there were already a few passengers there having already taken their seats, but as more people came out of the theatre, the lounge got busier and busier. Then at 11 p.m, the lights went off, the disco lights came on, and they were ready for a party. All the crew were on the dance floor encouraging passengers to take part. They did party dance after party dance, encouraging as many passengers as possible to take part. It was a fantastic fun event. I got up and did a few dances with a couple of the crew, and it did really feel like that Mediterranean holiday vibe where everybody was getting involved. Once again, there were a couple of Greek dances, there were some Spanish dances, Italian dances, a real mix of nationalities, and I think everyone involved really enjoyed taking part, interacting with the crew. What was the chant, Dom?
Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy.
Enjoy, yeah. Yes, Assistant Cruise Director Vladimir loves to say that on the mic, and we heard it many times. That is genuinely what we were doing. We were enjoying the evening. While we were in the Horizons, we did get chatting to some solo passengers, and they did let us know that there was a solo meetup event that did happen during the cruise. So if you are coming on board and solo, do know that there is a solo meetup event, but it does happen mid-cruise. Well, it did on this cruise anyway, so that is worth noting. But the solo passengers that we did speak to said that they were very well looked after in the restaurants, and they've enjoyed their cruise so far.
The solo meetup is unusually not advertised in the daily planner, and each solo on board had an invite pushed under their door. It was a fantastic evening entertainment. We had a few drinks in the Horizons Disco, chatted to some fellow passengers, and then around about midnight it was time for us to come back to the room as we had an excursion booked for the next day. Back in the cabin, we were really impressed because lo and behold, the wash-in that we put out before midday had returned already.
Superb service, very, very quickly. It was delivered in bags, folded ready for us to just put straight into our suitcase. What a fantastic service.
Also on the daily planner, it stated that our excursion was going to leave at 8 a.m, so another really early start for us.
Yes, we'll be setting our alarms for roughly about 7 a.m, so we get up, have some breakfast, and then head off exploring Olympia, because tomorrow we're in the port of Katakolan, which means we are heading to Olympia, the home of the ancient Olympic Games.
Then we've got a wine tasting event at a local vineyard, and we really can't wait, especially after our wine tasting experience, because I think we're experts now.
This time we'll be tasting some Greek wine with a local family.
And then we've got our last evening on board, and it is Greek night, another themed event.
And on the daily programme, it does say that tomorrow's dress theme is white and blue, so I think I better keep those white trousers out, Dom, because we're going to need them.
Thanks for watching our day in Corfu on Celestyal Journey. If you've got any comments or questions, just pop them in the box below and we'll get back to you. If you'd like to support us in creating future content and receiving exclusive benefits, we're also available on Patreon and through YouTube channel memberships.
YouTube members and Patreon subscribers do get exclusive benefits, including video updates throughout our cruise and postcards sent directly to your address. A big thank you to all of our existing Patreons and YouTube members. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more content available on our YouTube channel, so press that subscribe button. If you're interested in receiving daily updates, we're available on most social media platforms. Just search for Tom and Dom Travel.